Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. This story comes to you from the Sunday Times of London. And I am fascinated. Of course, as when you hear the story, you'll know. Here it is. Listen carefully, because there's numbers in this story, and I want you to get the full impact of what I'm about to tell you. Almost 1/3 of men. Getting this? Almost 1/3 of men. 1/3. 1 out of 3. Who undergo a paternity test discover they are raising someone else's child. Not 2%, not 3%, not 4%. 33%. 1/3. This coming from an international analysis of more than 37,000 paternity tests. Findings are that 29.8% of men who doubted their paternity had their suspicions confirmed by a test. Sue Price, the co-founder of something called the Men's Rights Agency, said men usually sought a paternity test if they thought their wife or partner had had an affair. She said suspicion of an affair, separation, divorce, and being told you're a father after having a one-night stand are the main reasons men had a paternity test. And sometimes the men may look nothing like the child. Also, some men might have been harboring suspicions over the years, and when they separate from their wives, they want to find out for sure. This according to Kermit Anderson, a researcher at the University of Oklahoma who conducted the study. He said paternity confidence has important implications for a man's involvement with his children, since men are less likely to interact with and support children whom they did not believe to be theirs. Are you hearing me? Read that again, with the incorrect grammar intact. Men in marriages are likely to have higher paternity confidence than men who father children outside the marriage. Paternity confidence has important implications for a man's involvement with his children, since men are less likely to interact with and support children whom they do not believe to be theirs. Should be who. But what the hell? But Ms. Price said most men remain close to the children even after they discovered they were not the biological father. That's because they're fools. Most fathers, she said, that we've encountered who found out they weren't the parent of the children have continued to have a very good relationship with these children. It's extremely difficult for the men and the children, but there is still a bond there. So there you go. If you go in and have a paternity test done, guys, 29.8% of the time, you are not, as Maury Povich says, you are not the father. Not. Those of you who have not had a DNA test done on that little rugrat, that little crumb cruncher, that little tax exemption, you're a coward because you're afraid you're going to get the results I'm talking about. I have told my men never, ever, ever allow a live birth to take place without a DNA test. Don't run. Don't hide. Don't avoid it. Get it done, because you could save yourself 18 years of misery. And the reason this is important is because many states, including the one I'm standing in, California, give you 2 years or 1 year or whatever to issue a challenge. And after that, you're the father. Even if later on you find out you're not the father, you're on the hook. Tag, you're it. Tough luck. Because the state doesn't want to pay welfare. And they're more than happy to have you, you schnook. They're more than happy to have you pay the bill, even though you have nothing to do with it. You must have a DNA test done. And I am hoping you boys, if you've been told that somebody's going to have your baby, I am hoping you had the test done. If she just told you she's pregnant and she's having the baby and the Hail Mary doesn't work, you must get the test done. If somebody told me they were having my baby, I would have a DNA test done. And I'm telling you right now, if I found out the baby wasn't mine, I'm out. Out! I will not give 1 red cent. I will not spend 1 minute with that bastard child. I won't. Under any circumstances. It's not my problem. I don't care if the kid ultimately would want to have a daddy. Not my fault. Go find the real daddy. Wherever he went. I'm against the average schnook, the average schlub, the average Poindexter out there paying child support for some other guy's kid. Spending time raising somebody else's leftovers. Totally opposed. I think you're a pussy if you do it. Now, I wonder how many of you actually went and got the DNA test. How many of you did it because I said so? You went and got the DNA test. How many of you found out that that little whore that you've been doing had the baby by somebody else, tried to put you on the hook for it? How many of you nailed that little slut, surprised her with a DNA test, and they're just like those poor, pathetic souls on the Maury Povich show? She had to walk off into the sunset with her bastard child to have to figure out what to do with her life. God, I want to talk about this.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
How are you doing?
Do you care?
God, yes. Without you, these men would be lost.
Oh, baby.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Tim. Hello. Yo.
Hello.
Yeah, you busy over there?
No.
Tim is thinking about beginning his phone call.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was on.
What do you think it means when somebody says you're on the Tom Leykis Show?
I thought you were the screener.
Why would the screener say you're on the Tom Leykis Show?
I didn't hear that part. It cut out. Anyways, I have a question. A girl I was dating a couple of months ago called me last week and said that she's pregnant with my kid. And she barely speaks to me at all. And I'm wondering what the legalities as far as forcing a DNA test. Because right now it doesn't look like she's going to want that to happen.
Only if she demands child support from you.
And that's, if she demands it, then there has to be a DNA test?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
But, wait. Tim? He hung up. Tim, she may never contact you. She may have a notice sent to another address for you, like the address of the hotel where you had sex with her, or the address of your former employer, or any address where she might have known you in the past. And if that notice is delivered and you are not there to receive it, they will consider it delivered. And then if you don't respond to the request in the notice, and enough time passes, in the case of California, I believe it's a year, tough luck, you're the dad. So I would not wait for that to happen. I would be proactive with an attorney. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Brian on the Tom Leykis Show.
Tom, what's going on, man? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Doing okay.
Basically, what's going on is about a year ago, I dumped my girlfriend, and we were together for 3 years prior to me dumping her. I got sick of her. So, a week later, she gives me a call, and she goes, I'm pregnant. I'm in the hospital. So
a week later, she was pregnant and in the hospital.
Well, it was actually like we still talk, and she went to go stay with her mom, and she basically called and just says, hey, man, I'm pregnant. I'm in the hospital. And she was pregnant. And never got a paternity test. And I'm actually still in contact with her, and I see the kid, and he looks basically just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I basically, like, am not living there with her, and there's no, like, you know, she ain't asking for child support, but I don't want her, you know, one of these days to get mad when I, you know, show up somewhere and I'm with another girl and she decides to take revenge and start asking me for child support or whatnot, when I never signed any paternal rights. And she doesn't even know if I'm the father.
Well, you need an attorney, Brian.
Yeah, and...
So go get one.
So basically just go get an attorney?
Yeah.
And, like, say, I don't know.
The attorney can research and find out whether a child was actually born. The attorney can find out who was put down on the birth certificate as the father.
There is no name. I've seen the birth certificate.
All right. And so the attorney will tell you what you need to do to protect yourself.
Yeah, because I just don't want to get nailed, you know.
Well, then you need an attorney.
Yeah.
By the way, it's not going to cost you $1 million to get an attorney. An hour of a good attorney's time will do.
Yeah.
So you need to get one.
Yeah.
Do you have an attorney?
No.
All right. Do you have a doctor?
I got a doctor, yeah.
Do your parents? All right. Oh, you have a doctor.
Yeah.
A good doctor.
Yeah.
Ask him if he knows a good attorney for this purpose. And get referred. Yes.
All right.
But you got to do it.
Yeah. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's a big headache for me, and I just...
It'll be less of a headache if you hire a professional.
Right.
And find out what needs to be done.
Exactly. All right, Tom. Appreciate it.
Brian, good luck. It's Jim on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi there, Tom.
Hi there.
For new-time listener, like a lot of people, but where were you about 30 years ago when I needed you?
30 years ago?
I married a woman, had 2 kids, you know, big mistake, but everything. But beside that, we got a divorce a few years later. Well, in Washington, they have a little strange law, at least they did at the time. A woman could marry a man, have kids, divorce the man, go through the marriage and divorce for, let's say, 10 other guys. She can collect child support on all 10 guys for those 2
This
kids.
is why I tell people in Washington State not to have relationships with single mothers. That's the most important reason.
Yeah, well,
not to do it, and it's something I've talked about on the air many, many times.
Yeah, I got me a good lawyer, thank God. And 6 months later, I got out of the child support. But, yeah, where were you 30 years ago, guy?
Well, I couldn't get a radio job back then.
No problem. But thanks for being there, and you sound like you're a good guy.
Thank you for that, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Stephanie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi there, Tom.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Do you care?
I wouldn't ask otherwise.
I'm doing great.
Well, I wanted to tell you about something. I'm a single mother. This is just sort of a female perspective, but it goes toward the men. If you have a child and you're not married, somebody has to sign off on the birth certificate. And if it is not the father, then they're screwed because they're gonna be liable anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, if whoever signs off on it, after that name is on the birth certificate.
Yeah, if you sign, by the way, guys, don't just sign anything that's put in front of you.
Yeah.
Refuse to sign anything unless an attorney looks at it.
Well, unless you know it's your child. If you know it's your child, sign the birth certificate.
Yes, but not if you believe it's your child. Because many people don't know the difference between knowing something and believing something.
Right, that's true.
You know, many guys say, I know it's my child because he looks just like me. And the reality is you don't know that. You believe
kids
it.
Look like a lot of things.
Little kids look like your grandpa.
Yeah. I mean...
That's who they look like.
But there's a tenuous situation there where you can just... I had to have my daughter's father come to the hospital and sign the birth certificate.
Uh-huh.
But that was her father. But in a lot of cases, by and large, I don't know what men are being told. And if you just go and do that, you're really on the hook.
Yeah, don't sign anything.
Right. But, on the other hand, if you know it's your child, sign the paper.
Only if you know, and I would say only after a DNA test.
Well...
Yes, only after a DNA test.
Well, I guess maybe a lot of your audience may be that, but...
Not just my audience. Anyone with a penis.
Oh, you're not telling me your men are that bad.
Every man should have a DNA test. Any man who's told he's a father should have a DNA test, including and especially if he's married.
Why do you say that, including if they're married?
Because a lot of women are just plain sluts.
Wow, I guess so.
If this survey says that almost 30% of men turned out not to be the father...
Which survey was that? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
It's the one I read about at the beginning of the hour when you weren't listening. I'm not going to read it again.
Okay.
Survey said 29.8% of men who took a paternity test internationally found out they were not the father.
Good.
That means everybody should get it done.
Yeah.
Nobody knows they're the father.
That's really frightening.
Well, if you're a man, it's very frightening.
Well, yes. Because, believe me, I'm 41. I've got a 2-year-old daughter. And I've never gotten a penny of child support. And that's fine with me. But my only thing was I wanted her to know who her father was. And I wanted it on her birth certificate. I did not want a blank spot.
Now, what if the guy is somebody who's patently irresponsible, who does not want to be the father to your child?
Which would be her father, yes.
Yeah, well, then what do you mean? She's not going to know who her father is. Yeah,
but the thing is, what I didn't want her to do was to grow up with a blank spot on her birth certificate.
Well, you had sex with a blank spot, dear, and gave birth to a child. That's what you did.
I had sex with a fiancé.
Yeah, a guy who wants no responsibility.
But, imagine, you're an adult man. Imagine looking at your birth certificate and seeing a blank spot for your father.
And no matter how that feels, as an adult man, I can tell you, any woman who decides to have my baby better put a blank spot.
Well, that's... Well, if it happened, you may not be able to get away from that.
Well, again, if you put a blank spot, nobody's responsible.
Well, what they told me at the hospital is that if the father isn't here and doesn't sign on the dotted line, so to speak, then you can then go through the states.
But if you don't put any name down there, it doesn't matter. If you don't put any name down there, then nobody is responsible.
Well,
if you put a name down and the guy doesn't sign his name to the birth certificate, that's another story. If you say, I don't know who the father is...
Oh, then you're going to get a blank, of course.
If you put a blank down there, nobody is responsible.
But if the father doesn't want to sign, what they do...
I didn't say... Then that means you put a name on there.
You put a name, but
No, but you put a name.
Put a name.
I'm telling you, if the guy doesn't want to be involved, putting his name only makes the situation worse.
Yeah, but what I'm telling the men is that the woman can always get the name. You can go through the states, and they will.
What I'm saying is you shouldn't put a name. Dear, you're not understanding me, and I'm gonna say it with your. I'm gonna put you on hold and say this one last time. If a man doesn't want to act as a parent, I am saying, as a woman, you shouldn't put any name there. You should not put the name of an unwilling participant on a birth certificate. It is only going to make your daughter's life more miserable.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
I think women understand how important fellatio is to most men. I don't think they get it.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Scott on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Tom?
Doing okay, Scott.
Hey, man, got a question. I'm married, been married for a couple of years, don't want kids at all. She obviously does, as a typical woman does. Now, the whole paternity thing, if you're married, what if she doesn't want to? Does she have to?
You don't need the woman to test for DNA. All you need is yourself and the kid.
Oh, got you. But can she disapprove the kid getting it done, or is that your right?
Nope, not yet. There are people trying to make a law like that, but right now, no.
Nice. All right.
Now, the thing is, the way to do... What, do you live with her? Are you married?
Oh, yeah, married.
All you need to do is swab the kid's mouth. The DNA test kit will tell you how to do it.
Oh, there's a test kit.
Yeah.
What, local Walgreens, Walmart? What?
Best thing to do is to go to a professional, okay? And they're listed in the phone. They're listed in the yellow pages.
All right.
You can go to any website like yellowbook.com or superpages.com, put in DNA, and a bunch of them are going to pop up. Or genetic testing.
Now, if you go ahead and do this DNA testing, do you need an attorney or anything like that handy or readily available?
Well, put it this way. I would always recommend getting an attorney. How old is the kid?
Well, there isn't. I'm saying for future because I totally believe in doing the DNA testing just because of the whole trusting women stuff.
Well, my first step would be to take the DNA test, and then if you don't like the result, I'd take what you get to the attorney.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks, man. You've been a help.
But I'm telling you, have a professional do it.
Right.
This is not like the EPT. You go over to the supermarket and you pick up a test kit. Okay, it's
Blue line positive.
It doesn't work that way.
All right, man.
All right?
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good luck. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Anthony on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
How's it going, Tom?
Going okay, Anthony.
All right, I got the story for you, man. 15 years old, didn't ever listen to Tom Leykis before. You know, going out and doing my thing, knocked up the girl supposedly. You know, turned 16, baby's born. You know, seen it for a little bit, played daddy for a while. After that, took off. You know, now I'm 24, not with her. Haven't been with her since, you know, before I was even 17. Now with a, you know, different lady, no kids, you know, just living life. I heard from a couple buddies that she wants to come on and give me child support. She seems kind of money I'm making, living well, living happy. And now she wants to get me for child support. What I want to know, Tom, is there a possibility, since I was 15, any way I could hire some attorneys or anything that would help me out there?
Well, the attorney's going to have to answer that question. I don't know if she's filed papers. Has she filed papers?
Well, what I know is that she was trying to get housing, and the housing recommended or told her that if she didn't have me on child support, to get me on child support.
All right, so did she send you legal documents, or did the state send you legal documents?
I have not received anything yet.
All right, you need to call an attorney today.
All right.
Today.
So, all right.
Because every day you wait, you run the risk that time will run out. There's a window of opportunity, okay, for you to have that test done.
Okay.
After that, they don't care what the test says.
I got you.
If I were you, I would not wait. Do you have an attorney?
I do have an attorney.
Go to him.
All right.
As soon as possible.
All right.
Don't think about it. Don't wait. And don't try to cheap out.
No, I know. It was all going smooth. It was all going nice.
That's how it happens.
I've never done a test, and if I do a test, it might not even be mine. So.
Right. But the point is, she may, for example, in the state of California, all she's required to do is give the state what they call your last known address. Where were you living when you were 16? With your parents? Where were they living?
Right.
Do they still live there?
Yeah, they do.
All right. They could have gotten this thing in the mail and thrown it away. They could have had a person try to deliver something. Knock, knock, nobody there.
Yeah, and also check this out, Tom. I was 15. This girl was 19. Like the older woman.
Well, guess what? Even though that would be technically probably statutory rape, that wouldn't prevent you from having to pay child support.
Okay.
But your attorney will tell you all of this. And I'm telling you, don't cheap out on this.
All right. Sounds good, Tom.
Okay?
Well, take me out old school.
Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. David on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right, I just wanted to say, you're giving these kids great advice on getting an attorney. I myself am an attorney. I'm a family law attorney. And if their wives or their girlfriends come to me, I would get everything they have. There's no question. Like, they have to go out and get an attorney right away.
This is what I'm trying to tell them.
I literally, if your girlfriends come to me and hire me, and you guys like that, even if the baby's not yours, if you had ever promised to give her money, if you had started giving her money, you would keep giving her your money. And I would be getting a large portion of it as well.
So guys should not give any of their money up and should never admit paternity, ever, until they talk to an attorney.
Yeah, exactly. They need to go out. We're not bad guys. It's very easy. Just come in, talk to us. We will not charge you normally for the first visit. You will not be paying anything for most good attorneys just to go out and talk to them and see if you want to hire them on, maybe on retainer, on some other issue. You will not have to pay. You will just talk to them. By far the best advice you could ever have you will get from an attorney on what to do.
No doubt about it, David.
That's all. I can't believe these guys are so stupid not to get an attorney, because I literally would have everything they own.
I keep trying to tell them that, as you hear. I have 11 different attorneys, and I've never lost one penny hiring attorneys. Never.
Yeah, it's worth, and whatever you have to pay the attorney, in the long run, it's your savings. Depending on where you live and what state you're in, she will get a lot of your money.
No doubt about it, David. Thank you for that. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Victor on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Okay.
All right. Well, I got pretty much like everybody else. I was about 22. Oh, no, I was 20, probably 20, and she was younger, and we got pregnant. She knew that I didn't want to have a kid. At first, I started playing dad a little bit, but I really didn't take care of him too much. Everybody I was with usually took care of him more than I did. Now, 5 years down the road, kid's 5 now, I'm going through it. I'm waiting for the paternity test right now. I get it sometime this week. And they got me for back child support, which is $30,000, taking $1,000 a month from my paychecks.
How old is the kid?
5 years old.
What is the law in Arizona, do you know?
I don't.
I mean, the DNA test may be irrelevant.
No, I was deemed by law the father because I defaulted and didn't show up for court. I had a lot of other stuff going on in my life just when that happened, which I know isn't an excuse. But
so why take the test now?
Well, I take the test now because if I was to take, I have talked to an attorney, and if I'm still not the father, because the only reason I was deemed father by law was because I didn't show up to court. So I went out and I paid for the paternity test, and I'm waiting for the test results right now.
So you're telling me in Arizona, if 5 years later you take the test and you find out the DNA test says you're not the father, you can be relieved of your responsibility?
Well, this just happened 2 months ago. That's why she was able to get back child support, because I wasn't there for 5 years.
All right, Victor, well, at least you have an attorney. I think that's a good thing. George on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Doing okay, George.
How you doing, Tom?
I just answered that question.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Yeah, I had a deal. The bad thing is I got married when I was 22, and she was 2 days out of high school. Dumb. But, we were young. And we ended up moving up to Washington, and we were married for like 9 years. Never got pregnant or anything, and we separated. She ended up getting pregnant by some other guy, and she knew it wasn't my kid. I finally filed divorce papers, and we went to court, and the court wouldn't divorce us because the state, they said they wanted a paternity test. So I took money out of my 401k plan, got penalized for that, and then I paid for all the paternity tests and all that stuff, found out it wasn't my kid, went back to court. This is the second time we're in court. The judge says, well, I can't divorce you today because I can't bastardize a child. I was like, excuse me? Just blew me away. And,
child is a bastard.
Yeah.
Doesn't need the judge to do it. The child is a bastard.
Right. So I hit the double doors going out of the courtroom, and surprisingly, hopefully, I was glad that nobody said anything, because I hit the double door, and they both hit the walls when they swung open. The reason he wouldn't do that is because the state wasn't going after anybody else but me. My name was never on the birth certificate.
Did you have wait? Did you have an attorney?
No.
Why not?
Because we were separated, and I filed divorce, and I just wanted to get divorced.
Yeah, I understand that, but once she went after you for child support, that's
no, the state was. No, she wasn't trying to get me for child support.
It's the same difference. If she went and applied for food stamps, welfare, housing, Section 8, whatever, it's the same thing. She's using the state to be her hitman.
Exactly. That's why they wouldn't do it.
But that's why you need an attorney.
Exactly.
Did you get one?
No, I didn't. What happened is we got the results back from the birth or the paternity test.
You already told me you were not the father.
Right.
So what happened?
I got the paternity test back, and it said I was not the father. By the time I got the paternity test back, it took us 1.5 years to get divorced. By the time I got the paternity test back, I was already $16,000 behind in child support. When I got those papers, I went out on the front porch, and I whooped and hollered and went to court. Like a month later, they divorced us, and it was all over, and I didn't owe a dime. So that was a good thing.
All right, good.
So, yeah, it was quite the experience. I couldn't believe it took 1.5 years to get divorced.
I would never do that without an attorney.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
When somebody hits you, that's the day you leave.
You can't, because it's your heart. I know it's like your head's not working, but your heart is.
Oh, my God. Your head's not working because you got punched in the face.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Steve. Hello. Steve.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Not much. Running out of time. Go for it.
Okay, well, long story short, buyer beware, man. All these guys that are talking about, oh, a kid looks just like me, he's got to be mine. Don't do it. Raised a kid for 10 years. It wasn't mine. Finally, my new wife comes to me and says, that kid doesn't look like you. And she finally convinced me to get a paternity test. Sure enough, go back to the original girlfriend. so what the hell happened? She said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, there was this other guy, but your family was really nice, so wanted to hook up with you and get all the benefits. Unbelievable.
Did you have to keep paying her after that?
You know what? It was just one of those things where I just was chipping in and being the dad and really wasn't paying anything, so I got extremely lucky. But now my attorney says keep everything out of my name. Don't put I own 2 different companies. Don't put anything in my name. Get the house in the wife's name. Don't have any assets.
Hope you never get divorced.
Exactly. Well, I'm 35, so, you know, hopefully this one's going great, so no worries there.
Good luck on that. Our email address, tom@blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.